Hi. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Truk Lagoon and set a story straight about um, uh, the dive shop out there. So when I was 9 years old, um, my family consisted of my three brothers, my mother, and my father. We took on a government contract to go out to this place called Truk Lagoon. Um, it's 500 miles southeast of Guam. So Guam's the big island that is part of the U.S. Truk is also part of the U.S. The citizens there's a technical difference between a U.S. citizen and a citizen of the U.S. But they are U.S. They're part of the United States. It's considered Micronesia. So I have a lot of stories about out there, and our whole family does. And I went out there. So I'm 9 years old, and we get out there. My brothers, the elementary school that I was in was being taught in the native language, whereas the high school was taught in English. The teachers for the high school were a mixture of Americans and Truckies that basically taught the classes. The Americans out there, most of them were Peace Corps volunteers, and they taught and things like that. So the roads, the infrastructure, the hospital, from what I understand, and I was 9 years old, mind you, but from what I understand, the agreement was that we would be out there, and we guaranteed to have a hospital for them and education. So they had a really nice high school, but the high school was in English, but I wasn't high school age. So for 3 years, I was out there without any formal education. And my mother went to Hawaii, and my brothers went off to boarding school and such. And I was left there with just my father for a couple of years, and I didn't go to school. So my father and my mother, my brothers were all gone. So I just ran around the island. Now, there are other American kids out there. There was Scott Kaufman. He was my best buddy. And then there was a Damien guy. I had headbutted him once. And yeah, he really didn't like me very much after that. And then there are the natives. The Truckies, they're very much, the Truckies male, they're very much into fighting. And I got in quite a few scraps out there. And they are very, very good at fighting. Yeah, I didn't win any of the scraps with the Truckies. They usually beat me up. But being that they're on an island, we're all on an island. And I went around the whole island on my bicycle in one day, which is another story, because I got yelled at for doing that. You know, I was bored. I needed something to do, so I told my friend Scott, I said, hey, I'm going to go around the island on my bicycle. So, yeah. It turns out that the reason I got scolded for that was that on the backside of the island, the natives there did not like white people at all. And if anyone else would have shown up out there, they would have immediately killed them. But the problem is the Truckies have cultural laws that prevent them from hurting any child. And being that I'm white, that's one thing, but I'm a child, so they can't touch me. And I didn't know this. I wasn't wiping it in their face. I was just bored, and I was going through the mangrove swamp carrying my bicycle. I met this other native kid on one side, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? I said, oh, well, I was going to go around the island on my bicycle, and he says, oh, let me go with you. So he came with me, and we were walking through the swamps and all kinds of stuff, carrying my bicycle. And anyway, he got me all around to the other side to Xavier High School, and I made the rest of the trip by myself. So, yeah, so out there on the islands, so 3 years out there, I had absolutely no training. And what I did was I just went around in the bushes and things like that and looked for things to do. My father would order Heathkit items, and I would put electronic items together. I was pretty good at building things and pretty good at repairing a lot of things. I mean, I was put in a new clutch. How many 9-year-old kids, put in a clutch on a motorcycle? Well, yeah, I didn't think much of it. I just did it. I took it apart, and if I had a problem, I just asked my dad, and he'd say, oh, well, you need to do this and this, and I'm like, all right, So, all of these things put together. But anyway, back to Truk. So, yeah, Truk. So, the high school was all in English. The natives there, they fought. I mean, we were sitting there watching movies. Went to the movies with my friend Scott, and we were just sitting there watching the movie on benches with all the other kids. And the guy sitting next to me, he's just started getting all huffy and stuff, and I'm just like, well, he took off his belt, wrapped it around his fist, and just started wailing on me right in the movie for no reason. Anyway, that was them. So we had a Australian guy that was out there. He was with his family. He had, I think, 2 kids and his wife on a trimaran that was sitting out there, and his name was Cheney. And Cheney, he's one of those he's a little guy, but he was a sailor, and he liked to drink and he liked to fight. Well, he'd go out and go to the bars, and people would wait to fight him on the road, and they would just get in big brawls, and he loved it, and he'd do it again the next week. And then, anyway, that was Cheney. Getting back to Truk, and the thing I really wanted to set straight, and I want to do this in a good hat. I don't have any malice. I just want things to be said correctly. On the website for Truk Lagoon's known for diving. It has like 35 sunken World War II Japanese vessels there. The big one was the I-169, which they sealed up when I was out there. But anyway, so it's known worldwide for diving. It is the epitome of diving. They have every different type of fish out there, and it's just really beautiful. So if you look at the website for Truk, it's going to be on diving, and it talks about Chemo's dive shop. And it says Chemo was the first dive shop in Truk, and portray him as being the founder. That's not exactly true. What happened on that was there was a Peace Corps volunteer. His name was Clark, and Clark was out there, and Chemo was working for Clark, and Chemo learned everything on how to do the diving, how the compressors work, and things like that. And when he learned how to do it, he then went and opened up his own business and competed with Clark. Well, that's all fair and good, but then he went to the law of the island and said, hold on a minute. He says, Truckee's cultural law states that I'm Truckee's and he isn't, and I get first choice. And therefore, any of the tourists that come off the plane, they have to come see me. first. And then anything else, you know, Clark can have. Well, this was not fair competition, and as of that, Clark eventually did bow out of the business. So that's the truth of what happened. What it says on the website is not what has happened. And if you want to know, there are plenty of people out there that knew what really went down. So my suggestion is, yeah, I'm giving you an opportunity to save face. Correct the website. This is just my little video. You have a website that everybody's saying, and you're taking undue glory and stating it incorrectly. And this goes to the truckies. You know, I'm giving you a way to walk out, and that's one of the big things I learned about their culture too. And it's unlike the American culture. It's, you always give a person a way to walk out of a argument or any type of altercation. You give them a way to walk out and still save face. And you make it easy for them to do this. That's how you get along. If they refuse to take it, then there's the only action you have is then to battle. One of the things, though, one of the big cultural differences, at least when I was a kid there, was once a person has gone down on the ground, the fight's done. That's over. And you stop and you walk away. You've won. And that's all the fight was about. You proved your point. You don't continue kicking a person when they're down, and you let it go at that. The reason is the next day, you're on an island. You're going to have to live with the person. So the way we do things here in our culture, I've seen people go up to gangsters on the street and just make it so they have no way out to save face. And so people wound up getting shot. That's not the way I was brought up. So my degree is actually in political science. That's a long another discussion. Yeah, we'll stick back on truck. But the experience of growing up in Truk Lagoon helped me to come to the way I treat people today. And that is to treat everyone, no matter who they are or what they care about, treat them all with respect. Anyway, I'm gonna put some more videos on truck up. I cut them short so you can watch them over and over.